Has a breaking point been reached at a gold mine in Oregon? A story we've been tracking for days. The BLM is up to old tricks, this time a gold mining claim in Oregon. I reached out to Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes and Mary Emmerich, the Josephine County Oath Keepers Public Information Officer, to get the facts on this edition of Breaking Point on the Next News Network. So what do we know right now? We know the BLM is attempting to force gold miners off a plot of land they've been using for nearly 140 years. And reports have surfaced that the BLM threatened to burn down buildings on site if the miners don't vacate the claim. We also know that the independent militia from coast to coast has been called up to once again ensure that due process is upheld and to prevent the BLM assault on the miners. However, we know all too well that the government has no problem burning down buildings and avoiding due process. We saw it in Waco 22 years ago when they indiscriminately murdered women and children. We also know, according to two affidavits posted at oathkeepers.com, that while serving cease and desist orders, a BLM official only identified as Danny openly declared that he had issues with the Constitution. It's not yet confirmed if Danny is the same Dan Love from the Bundy Ranch standoff. Mary Emmerich confirmed a staging area has been set up and camp rules established to govern the arriving private security forces.
Oath Keepers of Josephine County have been asked by the miners to do private security at their mine site, and we have agreed to do this because we have a concern that their Fifth Amendment rights be protected, and that is due process. They are in the middle of a legal action, and the BLM has threatened to get them off the claim before that's decided in court. So we are on site and have a staging area as well.
She would not divulge how many people have arrived on site, but she was clear to point out the Oath Keepers' intentions.
Our intention is to not promote a standoff between a government agency and the Oath Keepers. We are trying to keep this civil and protect the miners.
Meanwhile, Sheriff David Daniels stated the BLM are not taking action at this time. And BLM Special Agent Mike Swindon also stated the BLM is standing down. However, people close to the situation are requesting that all parties interested in preserving the Constitution remain on standby because of the BLM's history of deceptive and dishonest tactics. Stuart Rhodes confirmed these facts when I spoke to him just moments ago.
Well, I think this is part of the same pattern we've seen all across the West and all across the country, where you have, whether it's farmers, miners, loggers, it's the same agenda to drive the people off the land who've been working the land for generations and deprive them of their livelihood and their independence and force them into cities. This has been the agenda for a long time. So this is just one more example of it. But, you know, the people are starting to push back, and I think that's what has to happen. We need to have nullification and unified communities standing up against things like it. It's unfortunate that the sheriff so far has not taken a hard stand in defense of the rights of the miners, and that's not good, because then if the sheriff won't do it, then the people have to step in. This is what happened down at Bundy Ranch, right? You had a sheriff Gillespie, who was a total rollover for the feds and did not stand up for the rights of the Bundy family, and that left them no recourse but to call on their cowboy buddies and other supporters from around the country to go there. A bunch of veterans went there and support them. This is kind of similar. You know, sheriff, he said they're mediating, but you know, he should be standing up for the rights of the miners. And BLM has a pattern in that area of the country of just burning cabins to the ground. And in fact, in the past, there have been deaths involved in that kind of activity, where they lit a cabin on fire and someone's died. So this is, the miners don't trust them, and they're very concerned that BLM is just going to come in heavy-handed. So our goal is to make sure the miners have their day in court and have due process. And so our guys, you know, we haven't had a conversation yet, and that's not what we consider this, but because of the pattern of behavior in the BLM and the federal government, unfortunately, we're not going to let these people get Waco'd the same way as a Bundy Ranch. We didn't want that family to have the boot dropped on them either. So, you know, it'd be great to live in a country where the government respected the rights of the people and went through the process of giving them a chance to fight the legal fight before they go and do things. But that has not been the pattern. They just go seize cattle, they go burn down cabins. You know, this is the pattern of behavior. And when you're in an environment like that, I think it's incumbent on all of us to stand up and defend our neighbors.
So if you want to stand up and defend these miners, report to the staging area that's located at 2491 Camp Joy Road at Grants Pass, Oregon, 97526. All responders and media personnel are required to check in at the staging area before going to the campsite. So if you have a stake in liberty and you don't want to see another Waco, please do your part. Share this report. Go to the campsite. it could just save a life. Also, please leave any links to resources or articles on this story in the comment section below. We want to make sure that we have a repository of information when people watch and share this report. As always, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. That's how we grow. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.